Welcome back to Magic Lantern. In this episode, we look into three movies that are collectively known as Satyajit Ray's Apu Trilogy. We will be searching for common threads in this storyline, cross references between these three movies, and more importantly, the poetry of details. And in the end, we will also try to read the entire trilogy as a single entity and see what the three films together convey.
Does this strange word on the blackboard convey anything to you?
Before going into that, let us see some of the frames from these three movies, especially door and window frames. Repeated images of doors and windows and even holes in curtains and walls suggest the relationship between the indoor space and the outside world. And every time a character crosses a door, something of unique importance happens that moves the storyline forward. In the opening scene of Aparajito, Apu, armed with his recently acquired degree certificate, walks out into the world that reverberates with slogans demanding jobs and revolution. Upon hearing news of Aparna's death, Apu very significantly shuts himself off behind these doors. One of the much talked about recurring motifs of these three movies is train. In all the three movies, trains and their various sounds mark their presence. But in no two places are they placed in the same context. For the inquisitive innocence of childhood of the Pather Panchali, trains are something that lie behind the boundaries of their imagination. For the mother living alone in her village in Aparajito, train is only lifeline with her son. In a different context, while working as a housemaid, the mother sees Apu wasting his childhood doing small-time errands and she is disturbed. The train takes them away. When Apu recollects his intimate moments with Aparna, the train puffs its breath out as a background rhythm. Such as in life, when Apu decides to end a part of his life, it is the train that he turns to. The two characters who don't take a fascination to trains are Aparna and her son Kajol. Death hangs over these three movies as a constant presence. They aren't suddenly introduced to us, they come with premonitory announcements. Grandma is in fact waiting for death to come as a relief so that she need not roam around like a lost soul between different homes. Durga too was very much aware of her impending premature death. In fact, she solicits her own easy death in place of a difficult life by invoking the rain gods. Apu's father's death in Aparajito is much more elaborately planned one. Aparajito opens with the scene where the pigeons are summoned to take position on their designated platform, so that when the time comes, they can accompany the soul of Apu's dead father. Same is the case with Apu's mother's death. Aparna too announces her death to Apu well in advance. Apart from recurring visual motifs, the use of sound in these three movies is extraordinary. Sound of trains or water dripping, a crying child, a ticking clock. Use of such sounds in highly unlikely situations offer very different dimensions to the scene. Stitching of different overlapping sounds onto a moving scene like this in Aparajito is one such example.
সকল মহাত্মার তার স্তুতি করিয়া থাকে।
আমার ইস্টার বুকের উপর মাথা রেখে আমার কান্না হচ্ছে। না, দাদাকে ডেকে আনি। ধারণ করি আয়ানকে সন্তুষ্ট করবার জন্য তখন কৃষ্ণ কালী হলেন। আর তখন আয়ান বলছে, বলে ওরা রায়
And in Apur Sansar, movement is vertical. The ink stains of Aparajito is carried over to Apur Sansar. Just like his mother's reluctance to force her son to love her in Aparajito. Apu in Apur Sansar too wouldn't use force to take his son away. Instead, he tries with what he does best. Like the grandma, like his father, like Satyajit Ray. He tells stories. What does Ray convey to the viewer by packaging these three movies in a single entity? What is the complete story of these three movies together? Let us do a recap. The first movie, Pather Panchali, starts with the birth of Apu. And when he is 5 years old, along with his sister, he explores the very small world of his village and occasionally attempts a peep a little beyond too. And then grandma the storyteller dies. They move on. Not much later, his mentor, sister, and comrade in mischief and exploration, Durga, she too dies. He buries her secrets like a matured grown-up, picks up from there and manages his own affairs. And early in the next movie, Aparajito, his father, the storyteller too dies. Along with his mother, he moves on. The old world doesn't interest him anymore. Education opens up a whole new world for him, breaking the boundaries set by his mother, who herself has only very modest ambitions of 2 square meals a day. Apu decides to explore the world. Calcutta was his first step. And then the mother dies. His personal loss notwithstanding, he feels more liberated. Through all this train of events, Apu keeps growing, picking up something or the other from the grandma, Durga, his father, mother, and discarding what he feels is redundant. But he never turns away from life. And then comes Aparna, and then comes love.
আচ্ছা, তোমার চোখে কি আছে বলো তো?
Aparna's death, he could not move on the way he moved when rest of his family died. Before continuing with the story, let us bring Pullu into the narration. Pullu doesn't come alone. Just like train for Apu, water is for Pullu. And almost always Pullu takes Apu to meet water. And it is while riding a boat on the river that Pullu reads Apu's magnum opus, his unfinished novel. And it is in this boat ride that Apu raises the most existentialist question the human race has been asking ever since its formation. What is this all about? Heeding the advice of Pullu, Apu goes to see his son for the first time. He enters the room where his son Kajol is sleeping. But he isn't sure about waking him up. Instead, Apu takes a seat against the frame of a window. And through the frame, we see the river flowing as ever. And we also see probably the same boat in which Apu once pondered about the reason for his existence. Having found his answer, 5 years after Abarna's death, for the first time ever, Apu gathers strength and reason to meet his son Kajol. Apu meets Kajol at exactly the same age that we the viewers saw Apu for the first time in Pather Panchali. The inevitable cosmic circle of birth and death and then birth again and so on takes a full circle in front of us. The train is discarded, but life moves on like a river. And the wise one says,
যাহাবার তো হয়ে গেছে, এখন শ্রাদ্ধটা কর, করে এখানেই থাক।
নীরবে দেখাও অঙ্গুলি তুলি, অকুল সিন্ধু উঠিছে আকুলি, দূরে পশ্চিমে ডুবিছে তপন গগন কোণে, কি আছে কোথায় চলেছি কিসের অন্বেষণে।